If you're demoing, please join the Zoom link I just sent out to everyone and keep yourself muted if you're on the Zoom link. We're going to be using this laptop to get both the video and audio. When it's your time to present, join the Zoom call, share your screen, and present from there. Cool. Also remember to take out your trash once you're done eating.
Yeah. Cool. And if you're presenting or you presented before, we actually have hoodies this time, so stay after and you can get it. And I think we have a couple of creations for this. If anyone wants a demo who's not here, just let one of us know and we can probably squeeze you in. But who was the one who didn't know first? No. And someone said they were going to demo first, whoever that is.
Yeah, Joe.
Yay.
All right, should I do my I'm gonna do a little intro before we get started.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick intro.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, to get started, I'm just gonna do a really quick intro. So thank you all for coming to our Friends and Family Demo Day. I think there's a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces. For those of you who are new to Friends and Family, essentially what we are is we're a nonprofit on campus supporting student builders. So today we are going to be showing what the builders in our community have been working on throughout the quarter and just some side projects that they want to show off and demo. And so we support one another through building together, getting help, getting advice, all that stuff, community mentorship, micro grants, all of the above. And we want to thank you all for coming, and we hope to continue the legacy and see you again in the fall, essentially. Woo! All right. Starting up. Are you gonna? Awesome.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm Joe. I'm Shaurya. Last quarter I presented a bit on the Code in Place IDE. This quarter is a little bit different, but it's kind of like a little add-on. So the idea is, you have these assignments on Code in Place, but with GPT and like all these AI generated tools, it's so easy to cheat, and it's so easy to kind of turn in these assignments just by generating code online.
Yeah, I think what really like stemmed the idea for like what we created today is we were sitting in Palo Alto High School with a bunch of like teachers who were like heads of the social studies departments, and there's just this increasing pressure on teachers where they don't really know how to trust student assignments because of how rampant cheating has become. And that's just essays, but on the CS side, even professors at Stanford are finding it really hard to try and really authentically detect what a student has created and hasn't. So what we've created today is our base pedagogical belief that if you truly understand something, you should be able to speak on it. And that's what we're going to be doing.
And yeah, I think that this is kind of also like an alternative to like, not an alternative, but maybe we think that the Tech GPT and Zero GPT aren't the greatest tools. And I think Joe showed that pretty well, if he's in this room. But yeah, so that's the idea. We can do a little quick demo. This is an assignment that's actually live right now on Code in Place. And if you guys have taken 106A, it is, the goal here is to like build a program that kind of fills Carol. So it kind of goes through the entire world and fills the entire Carol. It's pretty hard. It's not that easy. I think the hard part about it is that it has to work for like any world. So even if it's this small, you should still be able to get that working. And so let me put this up here. So this is kind of the tool. It's Liz. She's our little conversational agent. You put in your code and it says, "Hi Joe, welcome to the Code in Place diagnosis." And it kind of talks to you about trying to really understand if you know your code. So it starts out with a very like broad reflective question. And I can be like, my experience was pretty enjoyable. I think it was a challenging assignment because I had to make it generalizable and I had never done it before, but I enjoyed it.
It's a pretty mid answer in my opinion, but we can take it from there. And I think like the goal is to start with reflection, but then really start like pushing your code and like trying to like offer you questions that get into what you created, and see if we can like explore how you thought through a problem through the way you answer questions, and also like counter situations with your code. Oh,
I used a while loop because I needed this to be generalizable for every single different Carol world size, and I could only do that with a while loop. So I can kind of edit it. Okay, send that through. Thinking. So here's kind of like the idea. Each time you kind of ask a question, it'll try and like, I guess the benefit of using LLMs in this situation is that it'll kind of like follow up based on like what you said. So it'll keep probing you and keep probing you, just like an oral exam. And each one of these base assumptions, it'll kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I can say here, a while loop means that I don't need to predefine the number of iterations, and depending on the world size, it will adapt to it. Yeah, wait a sec. That's so slow. Okay, the internet is dying, but you get the point. It kind of keeps going. The idea is that we also built like an essay version, and we're actually
Yeah, so there's like, I mean, in code, there's a lot of ways you can say that something is like right or wrong, but with essays, you really want to like talk through your argument. And if you've taken like a philosophy class here, for example, you're often asked to like, put counter arguments forth and then respond to those counter arguments. So we're really trying to like scale that like oral evaluation by giving like any teacher the ability to like have like 30 of their students have 30 oral conversations and then give them transcripts, which we can jump to right now. So we're really trying to like model what like an oral examination would look like, where you have a base question, and then on top of the base question, you kind of have follow-up questions that are aimed to clarify your thought process. So the idea is by the end of this, a teacher can kind of receive a transcript and then like see like certain bolded portions. This is like super preliminary, but then after that, have a very good understanding over like multiple weeks what their student is truly thinking at different points in time, where they can have a reliable idea of whether their student actually worked on something or not. So yeah,
and that's it.
just like,
Thank you. Sorry it takes so long. Yeah. One question. Okay. One question.
yes.
So what happens if the student gets an incomplete answer? But if they're unable to point something, what is the substitute?
Yeah. I think you're getting at like two different questions. One is if a student truly doesn't like understand something, then I think the idea is that like, so over there, for example, Joe said, I used a while loop because I didn't want it to stop. And then the next question immediately was, how does a while loop account for different world sizes? So the idea is if you didn't fully explain your thought process, the very next question is going to get you to explain the word you used previously. And then like almost like push you towards like revealing your true understanding of something and seeing like where you technically falter or not. But another and more important thing you're also asking, I think, is, what if a student can't sufficiently like explain their thought process? And I think we're still trying to figure out like what is the best way to like reliably ensure that like we're evaluating students. But also two, I think it's becoming more and more important for individuals to be able to explain their thought process, especially with code. A lot of students struggle with like, speaking about and doing like technical code walkthroughs, although they might have like all their foundational like ability to like produce an assignment down. And we think that like in terms of like where the world is headed, like you need to be able to do that. So I think this is like a safe, self-directed, self-paced environment where students could actually practice that if they do falter a few times. You want to add anything?
That's fun. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I think demo leaders.
All right. Hi all, I'm Sophia, and I'm gonna be doing a demo called Are They Human? So this really relates to what's going on in like the Web3 space. I know right now, a lot of people probably think crypto is dead. And for the most part, there's a lot happening still, but more at the infrastructure level. And one of the big reasons that it's really hard for blockchain technology to be adopted is it's difficult to tell if this technology and Web3 actually connects to real identities. For example, my background is a lot in DAOs, and these are decentralized autonomous organizations. And this really doesn't function unless we can tell that a wallet address connects to an actual human. So how do we do that? Here's my demo. And essentially, we have this little "Are they human" tracker. You can take your wallet address. So this is my wallet address, and copy it, paste it in, submit it. And what this does is it uses the Gitcoin Score API to track your on-chain history, validate pieces about your identity, like validation stamps, and spit out a score. And this score essentially detects how human are you. So based off of this, I have, if you can also check this if you just go straight to Ethereum name services or like Etherscan, you can see my actual transactions, but this is a little prettier of a way to view it. I have a lens protocol handle, an NFT, a proof of attendance protocol, these different ETH transactions, an ENS domain. So it's probably likely that this wallet address is connected to a real human and not a bot. But it could be better. I'll show you an example of one that's even better. This is someone who's been very active in a DAO. So they're probably a human. Okay, let me try this again. Sorry, it's a little. Okay, so we have their wallet address, and it says it's most likely a human. So they have a 42% score. And if you check some of their pieces about their on-chain history, you have all of this stuff about their on-chain history. So that's pretty sure they're human. Now let's go here. So this is a new wallet address I just made today. It's pretty recent. So this will probably, it says very little on-chain history. As you can see, I don't even have a single stamp. So it gives me a score of 1. And what you can use that for is you can gate your DAOs or gate voting and be like, you have to have a certain score above 25 to get access to all of this, because we only want humans interacting with our on-chain experiences. And that's all. Thank you. I think we have some time for a few questions. Yeah.
If the criteria are known, how do you prevent gaming?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this score right here is the default score that Gitcoin created to score it, but it's fully open source and you can actually create your own score. So as I scored it in the code, I passed in a score ID, so it connects to Gitcoin's score mechanism. And their score, you can be like, well, they're going to weigh things that are really high that they care about, so someone could game it that way. But say you have your own like NFT collection and you just really care about certain stuff about them, then you'll score that way, and then you can gate your like DApp or whatever based off of your specific score. But right now I'm just using their default scoring mechanism. Any other last one last question? Cool. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, so typically what happens is like exactly what you're talking about is in DAOs, a lot of people will make a bunch of wallets so that you can vote a bunch of times. And technically you can get a wallet and then do all this stuff with your on-chain history, but every single stamp and the more validators you take, it gets exponentially more difficult to do that. So the theory is, yes, you could get a bot, but some of these stamps are based off like time history. So it would take a really long time for a bot to catch up, like compared to just getting a bot to like mint a bunch of addresses and all that. Yeah. Cool, thank you. Beautiful. Hi guys. Hi guys, I'm Rachel, and I've been playing around with like vision and vision models and stable diffusion for the past few weeks. And so I just shipped this fun little hack that I did that built on top of some recent findings called Implement Anything. That basically combines the newest like Meta's new segment anything model and stable diffusion to let you click and fill anything you want in an image using just a simple text prompt. And so I'll just go into the little demo here. You can just go to like anythingai.com and play around with it yourself. But let's say I have this like image of a dog, right? And I want to see what it would look like to have like a teddy bear on this bench, right? Like let's say I really like the background, but this dog just really isn't doing it for me. Then I can create a mask. And what this is doing is in the background, it's calling Meta's new segment anything model to predict the objects within this image. And this should only take like around like 10-ish seconds to do if the GPU gods are with me right now. And as you can see here, so I can select the dog with the without the tail, the dog with the tail, or like the entire dog and bench. That's what the model predicted for me. So let's just say I want to do like the dog and the with its tail. And then let's say I want to do like a teddy bear on this bench, right? On a bench. This is what I want to see. Did I spell bench correctly? Yeah, okay. Then what I'm doing now, or what this is doing now, is it's calling Stable Diffusion's in-paint feature to use the object mask that I just created to generate a completely new. Oh, there's some like echo here. Oh, to generate a completely new image using the background. And so this should only take like another like 30 seconds. And yeah, it was really fun to build. Both of these models are hosted or deployed serverlessly using Modal, which is a pretty cheap backend service. And yeah, and as you can see here, okay, it gave the teddy bear some legs where the tail was. Or you can see like here, like this is like a standard teddy bear sitting on a bench. You can download the images and use them freely. Yeah. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
So, art styles are pretty big in terms of like the AI generation scene. Are you inferring like an art style based on the contextual background, or is that some parameter that you can provide?
Yeah, this is just using the out of the box like Stable Diffusion in-paint feature. And so, I mean, you can provide like in the text prompt, you can be like in Van Gogh style, and then it would like probably generate that. And it wouldn't change the background, but it would like maybe like make the teddy bear like a little swirly. So yeah, this is just using models out of the box. But you can also, I also made the code open source if you want to play around with it, or just go to anything-ai.com. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
What does it cost you to run the inference?
To run the inference? I forget. It's like some like microcent per second. I think like in total, like I spent like around like $20, and this has been up for like a week and a half. Yeah, and like I think I've gotten like 200 users on it. All right. Thank you.
Is Tom here? Yeah, I think we just move it on.
Demo orders, you should have gotten an email with the presentation order. You can just line up right before you're going, and if you don't know when you're going, you can get it. Hey guys, my name is Zodi. I want to write a web app that could help small businesses with their data analysis. Data science teams are extremely expensive, and most small businesses in the US don't have the funds to pay for it.
which leads to huge problems with scheduling inventory, understanding customer trends, and in general, just making a lot of key strategic decisions for your business. So what I wanted to do is essentially leverage, Google Colab, so people wouldn't have to download anything on their machine, and to just use their Gmail and Google Drive to run these scripts, and then create a web app that lets you specify some things about your file, and also specify what you want done with it, and then it writes a Python script for you by calling the OpenAI API, and you can just copy and paste that into Colab. So it just asks you some really simple questions. So what is the name of the input file? What are the column names? How do you want me to clean the data? How do you want me to analyze the data? And then do you want me to save the clean data in a new file? And what do you want me to call it? So the example is a file with 5,000 employees called names.csv. Then I'm going to specify the column names. I'm going to say I want all entries removed where the employee has less than 6 years of work experience. So it's for this specific example, we're trying to actually create a list of potential candidates for a new job. So I'm going to clean it and then analyze it based on those specifications. I want to find all employees that have manufacturing backgrounds and are currently a manager. And I want to save the output to a new file called potentialcandidates.csv. And the key thing here is that you never actually have to upload your data to the web app. You just upload it to your own Google Colab. So this doesn't actually collect any of your data. And then you can click write my script. And this will take a couple seconds, but it'll output the script on the bottom right. And then we can just copy and paste it into Colab. So here I have my Python script. I don't need any coding experience to do this. And I can just copy and paste it into here and then run it. And we can print the output, and we can see here that it's now 50 rows when it was like almost 5,000 before. So if you're a small business and you have no background in Python, you don't want to download anything on your machine, but you have CSV files that you want analyzed, you can just use this web app, specify what you want done, and it'll output a script that you can run in Google Colab. And you can see here, it also has the output saved as a new file. Yeah.
I was just curious if the reason that you feel like this web app is helping with experience because you have to like provide all these inputs on your own. Like I'm curious if you feel like it's amazing.
Yeah, I played around a lot with ChatGPT and just like prompt engineered it a little bit. So I take the input and then change it and then feed it to OpenAI, just because there's like some things that if you don't format them the way it wants, it'll lead your Python script to have bugs. And that's fine if, if you're like a software engineer and you just like go back and say like, I ran into this error, like, can you rewrite my code? But if you don't understand Python and you can't even identify where the error is or what's causing your, what's causing your error, then that can make it really hard and lead to people like giving up on using this. So I just want to reduce all that friction and make it like as easy as possible. And for me to like prompt engineer everything on the back end. Any other questions? Cool, thanks guys.
Right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Adbeh. This is Inghang. The two of us have used Carta a lot while at Stanford. But one thing we use Carta for a lot is we search for reviews. In particular, if I want to take a class, I'll probably spend like 10 to 15 minutes pouring through all the reviews for that class for a particular instructor. So we thought it would be cool if we spend a weekend using all the Carta reviews to generate summaries of how well a class is taught under a particular professor. And the way we did this was we took all the Carter reviews for particular classes, segregated them by instructor, and dumped that into GPT. So quick demo. If I were to type CS 140, so CS 140 is a class which I know really depends, well, it's hard in both cases, but your experience really depends on who your instructor was. So in particular, under one professor, the lectures and the assignments are almost two different classes. And under another instructor, the lectures and the assignments are kind of very similar. So what you can see here is you get different reviews based on the instructors. So yeah, that's basically it. Very quick demo. Happy to take any questions. Thank you. Yeah.
When can we use it?
It's available on carta-svelte.versal.app. Yeah. We've had, I think we posted on Fizz like a month ago when we launched it. I think 500 people have used it so far. Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah. Any other questions?
What's next? Are you guys-
We do not know, to be honest. Man, that was a strangely stressful question to answer. All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay. How do I share the screen? Excuse me? How should I share the screen? Yeah. Sorry for that. Yep, thanks. Shall I unmute myself or?
So stay muted on there and this already is unmuted.
Okay, I should.
So
Thank you.
go ahead and just share your screen.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. Oops, really something here. Okay. So hi, I'm David. I'm here to share two little projects I've done actually last quarter, but I just had the chance to present them. So for the first one, it's called Bark GPT. What this means is that I use a ChatGPT API and incorporate that into a quadruped robot, and so that it can move just by the instruction of ChatGPT, just by giving it some action libraries or API docs. So let's just skip into the prompting. Here's a Python doc API, and you can just write a Python script to control the robot. There's just some simple techniques, but yep. And then I just pipe the written script into this Raspberry Pi so that robot can execute it. And it actually works pretty well. For example, I let it work in circle, make it appear happy or sad, or even make it act as a real dog, and the GPT agent can actually understand the meaning behind that and try to use the kind of limited APIs to form that action. For example, if I want to make it dance, it can, it tries so hard, right? You see, lie down, wag tail, etc. Those are built-in functions, so it just knows, oh, this function does this stuff, and then I can use it in a Python script. Here are some more complicated ones. For example, this one is to walk in the square. It knows to turn pi over 2, which is 90 degrees, and then walk and then turn. And at last, it knows how to finish the actions by just calling the rest function, which essentially ends the entire process. So this shows it's actually feasible to control a agent by just giving it a library and let it intelligent language model to finish all the jobs for you. This one is kind of more complicated. This is an action to switch between different gestures walking. For example, it's a fetch and relax walk. And I actually had some demo videos, but today I didn't have the chance to share them. But I will tell you that it can work really well, especially on background. And also, there are previous work for that. So you can, if you want to look into it, you can search this one. Palmy is a big model by Google, and they actually use it in the work called Satan. I believe lots of you may know this work. So just look it up. And this is my first project. The second one would be, I just had the chance to write a small NLP command line tool by just inputting natural language, and it outputs a command for you. So people would say, oh, why don't you just use a ChatGPT? But actually, if you think about it, you open the browser, you log into ChatGPT and ask it, and you copy paste it. That would be so time consuming. And if right now I want to do several stuff, and let's see who can answer the commands quite quickly. For example, first, how to kill all Python processes. Right? It's a kind of complex command, but it's kind of on a daily basis you have to use it, right? So you just input it, and it gives you the command, and you type Y, it just runs it for you. But I don't have any Python processes running, so I'll just leave it here. But if you type E, explain, it'll explain the command for you. Yeah, so it's just querying the browser or the API, but it actually explains everything so that you would reach the same effect of reading a man page only if you just do it in a command line. Also, you can copy it to clipboard, something like that. The second one would be, for example, to list which processes using port 5000, kind of the same thing. It just output it for you. Let's skip that. And some more complicated ones would be to create a lot of files. This involves writing an inline bash script. So it uses for and also, yep, to output everything and done. So essentially just be a ChatGPT that is embedded, but I think it'll be convenient for people to have daily developing usage. So I think that'll be the end for my demo. Thank you so much. Any questions? Yeah.
I'm on this. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, so just share your screen here. And then whenever you're ready, just share your screen. And then this, the audio and video is already on here. So. Okay, thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Annie. I like building small things to solve problems that I encounter in my daily life. And one of them I found is bill splitting. Every time my friends and I would go out to eat at a restaurant, we'd always take a lot of time at the end, like tallying everything up and like arguing over the math and stuff. So I also found that existing solutions like Splitwise have two major problems. One, the tech sucks. You have to manually input things. Which often adds like more time and inconvenience than the solutions actually save. And number two, the user interface and like sort of the logic of it is not very intuitive. So I decided to tackle that with my app PETA. Let's say I have okay, that's not supposed to happen. Okay, So this is what I see when I first opened the app. It's basically a camera for you to like take a picture of the receipt. For now, I'm just gonna add one from my photo album. There's kind of a lag. But I basically developed my own algorithm to parse the OCR response from the receipt picture. So it's very effective at identifying the individual items and prices, regardless of whether the receipt is like folded or slanted or like in really bad lighting. You can also double check the accuracy of it with like comparing the pictures of it. So as you can see, it got it pretty well. It also calculates tax and tip proportionally. So that's just like a small built-in like math feature there. So on this page, you can just like edit items if you want, or like add new items if you like got another item that wasn't on the receipt. And then on this page, you can assign people to items, which I find is more intuitive than assigning items to people. So let's say I got like these two items, and then like I shared one of these items with someone else, but then that person also got like another item. And then let's say like everyone shared this one, and then like someone else got this item. So this is sort of like what you see after you put in all of the people for the item. And then on the next page, it will automatically calculate what everyone owes. You can see the individual breakdown of that. And then you can directly request Venmo request people from the app. And then it will also generate like a laid out sort of like screenshot of the receipt to send to like a group chat or like people who are relevant to the bill. And yeah, that's it. It's on the App Store like as of last week. So if you guys want to download it, search up pita bill, because the SEO is really bad. So you're not going to find it if you search up pita. You're going to find a lot of like pita bread apps. That's not what this is. So yeah, that's what I made. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Hello. So I'm demoing Substacks.space, which is basically mapping every Substack. So for those who don't know, Substack, very popular newsletter platform where people can write their own newsletters. And personally, I found that some of the best writing happening on the internet is happening on Substack, but it's not super discoverable. Everyone has their own website and they're connected by the main Substack website, but only really the popular ones get a lot of coverage from that. So I wanted some way to be able to see what all the Substacks were, who is writing what on the Substack platform overall. So I made Substack.space, and basically what this is it has all 23,000 about as of a few weeks ago Substacks right here. And you can see each of them and then the connections between them based on recommendations between Substacks. So every page can choose other pages to recommend, creating links between them. And this helps capture both similar types of Substacks, but also the sort of author communities of who's writing what. So let me go to that. If we look at the global view, this will show us every Substack. And as we can see, there are tons and tons of them. And we can see big clusters of the different types of things people write. Off in the corners, there are a lot of like foreign language communities, which is interesting to see. There are also political communities. Like this big orange one down here is sort of more conservative Substacks, and you get more liberal Substacks in the center. So in terms of organization, these are all been classified by ChatGPT. So each one has a color and a category based on what it's writing about. So this is Letters from an American, a very popular one, and it says it's a political Substack there. And if we turn off the log scale, we can see there are a couple of very large Substacks like this one, but most of them are all very small. We also have a semantic plot. So every Substack and what articles are on that page have been embedded, and we can do principal component analysis and see them all in embedding space, what types of Substacks there are. And this helps us look at which ones are near each other. For any one Substack, oh no, I zoomed out way too much. We can see its neighborhood
of all the local ones, and this gives us a much better view of sort of the local community of what writers are nearby. And then of course, for each Substack, we can go to it. I can open up this one, Wednesday's Ghost Substack page. It's true life stories and essays about life, love, death. Looks cool. Might like to read it. And then all these connecting ones are ones recommended by it or that recommend it, that might have similar content that could be cool to see. And then from each of these, you can again view the local neighborhood of any of those and get a sense of what is being written overall. And yeah, that's that. Yeah.
You mentioned this briefly, but how do you do the clustering exactly?
So do you mean like the layout or clustering or like the categorization?
Okay.
So the layout is basically, it's entirely unstructured based on something that's called a force graph based on just the links. So it starts off basically as almost a force simulation of everything being at one position and then creating forces based on the recommendation links. So the ones that are recommended are nearby with the amount of force pulling them in any direction based on how many people are being recommended what. And then these links are also weighted based on the semantic distance of the Substack embeddings. So ones that talk about more similar content, their links are weighted more strongly and they'll be clustered closer together.
So would you get the same graph if you were to run the process right from the beginning?
Yeah, so it's totally deterministic in terms of where they're placed. Of course, it'll depend a lot if you're looking at a subset. Like if you only look at one local neighborhood, it's going to be very different as opposed to the whole thing. But yeah, it's the same every time. Yeah. Oh yeah, tons and tons. The global view, I don't know if you can see, is super, super slow. And I definitely spent the majority of this project doing performance improvements. And I guess one thing for this is that the links themselves are the slowest. So I have a turning off links, and as we can see, it gets way, way faster. But yeah, definitely improving performance further is a big thing. Yeah.
Can you find any cool Substacks from there?
I found a lot of them. Yeah, no, definitely a lot of this project was just like working on it for a tiny bit and then like reading 5 Substacks because I would just get distracted finding a bunch of them. I'm happy to provide Substack recommendations to anyone after. I have lots, but yeah, definitely did. Yeah. I think it's the performance is already so bad for 2D. That would certainly be a big step. Definitely something I want to look at is sort of the other axes of the embedding space, because right now that's only flattened to 2 dimensions. So maybe being able to scrub through, look at different dimensions on the 2D plane. 3D rendering would be cool. I don't know how much it would give you in terms of performance cost though. All right, thank you.
Cool, we're gonna take a 10-minute break, so feel free to grab some more food and we'll be back at 7:15 for the second half of demos. So we'll be back at 7:15.
Let me see if I can fix this.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. And for the second half of the demo day, my name is David Yu. So we have two interesting hacks that we want to show today. Both of them are just some side projects that we've been building. The first one is called Unagi. It's basically a knockoff version of AGI, as you might be aware. So it's a programmatic way to access the browser. So let's say I wanted to do a task like find the weather today in Palo Alto and send it to your email. From Sam at Stanford.edu. Or sign. So you can task it with something like find the weather in Palo Alto today and send it to some email. I'm already signed into Gmail, and what it'll do is it'll figure out how to do that on its own. So the whole purpose of Unagi as a system is that it's self-learning, and basically as it fails, it understands how to do things better. It's also very coachable. So if you feel like it's doing something wrong, you can tell it to be corrected and do something. So right now it's taking a second because I think our servers are a little slow. Hopefully they're still deployed actually, but we'll see. We'll figure it out right now. Actually. And so actually a couple of random anecdotes. The first thing when we first built Unagi, the very first thing that it did was actually X itself out, which was a little scary actually. So a little dark. Yeah, a little dark. But yeah, so here as you can see, it's like doing everything by itself. I think it's searched for some weather today in Palo Alto. And you can see there's it gives you a list of tasks that it breaks it down into. You can always adjust it if you feel like it's doing something the wrong way, you want to do it better, or you have a different way of doing a certain task. You can always change it, and it's coachable in any way. So you might let it run here. It's probably live. Might need to give it a second. I would say some of the work that went into this, honestly, just figuring out how to break down tasks in a way that made sense for some of the downstream agents of a little. So I'm not currently signed into Unagi currently, and so like there's no history of what it's done, but as you use it more and more, it will be signed in. So I think it's here, I'm gonna stop it. We can field an example from the audience. What do you guys want to do?
Look up local restaurants.
And find me a steakhouse. And so you guys are probably aware that autonomous agents are like a system that can activate and do their own tasks and their own volition. I think what makes Unagi very different is that it has access to APIs as well. So not only can it control your computer, it can also call APIs, whether it's like Facebook or Google or Gmail or Calendar. It can make and schedule requests. It can basically send emails on behalf of you, send messages, and do all kinds of things. So. Yeah, so that's running. Maybe we want to do our second demo. Yeah, that's running. It's running on this window. Yeah, it's a bit slow right now. I'll just go ahead and stop it so we don't have to wait. We can just go ahead. Yeah, so for the next demo, pretty much we talked to two people about, okay, one of the use cases of applying LMS with real world stuff is taking unstructured data and making it structured.
So a very simple application of it is just taking any PDF or anything in file format and turning that into some sort of schema, either user specified or a schema that is kind of automatically generated by without switching to the model or putting out there now.
Yeah, so basically building onto the existing, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with large language models today. The biggest challenge of large language models is that they don't have an understanding of sight or vision or the way in which the document is actually structured. So we have to basically apply some sort of vision transformer that also understands the layout of the image. So you can't just basically feed this directly into an LLM of some kind. You have to have some sort of vision transformer that understands the layout of the document, convert that to embeddings, and also pass that into along with the text itself. And so that creates a structured document that you can see.
The state of the art multimodal transformers aren't amazing, but that's also they're not super big. So I think bumping it up will scaling also scale high as we increase the parameter size for these multimodal transformers. So I think these models will get better, but yeah, as you can see, we kind of converted this build into a structured format, and right now it's kind of automatically determined, but the user, we want to enable the user to specify particular schemas or particular key value pairs to extract from and
And maybe the last thing I'll add, because that it's a world model, it's got a large language model with vision transformer, it has a world model. So it doesn't have to be from a PDF. You can pass it in a picture of, I don't know, a Pokemon card or something. You should build it as well. There you go. And that's it.
How do you define the action or the task primitive for demo? How do you define the task primitive for project?
Yeah, so we actually use two methods. One is called Miracle MRKL. You can take a look at the research paper. Basically, you basically define a domain-specific language for how you actually operate the tool. So for us, we have a domain-specific language and how the browser actually operates, and then we let the browser be able to use the setup tool that it has access to.
This is a question for the demo. So if you guys you can try to benchmarking its performance against something like cloud developing.
Yeah. So I think the thing with ChatGPT browsing with plugins, like it's still very chat interface focused. So it can't do things like go into your calendar and actually add a new event or send an email on behalf of you. Yeah, I know it's a little bit slow today. If you actually just go into the Chrome extension store and look at Unagi, you can just download it and type it.
They're actually fine. Yeah. So if you want to play around.
Yeah. I'll reset the server so it's faster.
As a follow-up to that, since you are live, how much does this cost you for you?
It's very cheap, actually. I think so. We're running a lot of our own models for a lot of the things, and so our self-trained models are like just running on a fixed GPU cost. And yeah, I would say making a month we spend like $20. Yeah, we spend more on food than we have on. Cool. Thanks.
What is your startup again? Okay. This? All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Victoria Angelari. I'm from the Bay Area and I go to Berkeley. I built a bunch of ChatGPT plugins and we have Yeah, we have a lot of users, or I have a lot of users. Yeah, it's just me. Me and yeah, so basically like I built a bunch of like very simple plugins, very simple stuff. But the good thing is that they work very well. I made JavaScript PDF video website, get maps in like a week, and then right now I'm building this really cool plugin called Party Chat, which I want to talk about. So there's a thing called durable objects, which is like basically gives you Google Docs functionality into your app. So like multiple people can join like your party, join like this like durable object, and they all have a shared state where like you can basically make a Google document like append state to it, change it, all that stuff. So I made this thing called Party Chat, which essentially you can like this is like an example where essentially I basically built like a multiplayer where essentially multiple people can join like a party in your session. So like right here you can join a party. You can append state to it. Get state from it. Like multiple people are doing different things, and yeah, like you can basically like share sort of a ChatGPT state. Let me find an example. You can join a party, for example, and say like, hey, my name's Surya. I want to join party one. And clearly, there's not a lot of people here, but it shows basically like everything I'm doing. Yeah. So like, I think the vision for this is sort of like like if you're working on a project, you can like if you're working on a project, multiple people can project stage where it's like in like one person's working, one person's working on getting images or whatever, and getting images. One person's working on the video, and you can all append that video, and you can all append that state to this shared state, and you can grab that state, do whatever you want with that state, yeah, essentially that's what's going on. Maybe this gives a better overview. Yeah. And unfortunately, not anything like too interesting. I feel like the more interesting thing is creating games on top of it. So I'm building a game called Water Not, where essentially multiple people can join this like party, and everyone kind of playing this game of like figuring out who's ChatGPT and who's not. Like five people will basically like every seconds, everyone will be like given an attestation of why they're human, and at the end of the second, you all vote who's like ChatGPT within that party sort of. So there's like so many things you can build on top of like how durable work, because I feel like it's like so cool and interesting concept, and yeah, hopefully we'll see more like multiplayer games in ChatGPT, and yeah.
Curious if you know what most of your users are doing.
Sure. So like here like over the past like 30 days, we had like 1.5 almost users, and basically what I'm doing right now is like I just can't handle the number of volume we have. Like our servers pretty much crash like every day. That we just basically like log everything into the analytics engine. I would say it's hard to figure out what people are doing exactly without delving deeper into like what people are doing exactly. I just haven't looked into it honestly. There's like people from I've looked through the logs here and there, and like people from Japan, like from Mexico. Like I don't even know how to read these languages. Like I've seen some of the stuff. People are like dumping hundreds of megabytes worth of PDFs and like manuals and textbooks, and that's the point. That's why I made it because I wanted to do my homework. So I made PDFs to read my textbook, write essays for me, and then video. I didn't really want to read like 20-minute long video lectures. So I think people are using it to the maximum
that it can be used.
And of course, everything's free. No limits. The only limit is that it'll crash at some point in time.
And
It actually does crash.
So
So
I think maybe
a lot of people here will be probably using
Chroma. And Chroma's great. The problem is that Chroma crashes like every 12 hours.
There's like a racing condition thing. But
yeah, I feel like I can architecture this better hopefully in the future.
But
Yeah, any other questions?
any other questions?
How do you think monetize
Totally. That's a very good question that I'm working on right now with OpenAI. I think I can't really say too much about it. It's like I have to figure out what they'll say yes to, what they'll say no to. I have like a lot of ideas, but like I don't really know at this point. We are working on, which I probably can't say, is that we're working on premium model where essentially OpenAI plugin, they give you an option to do authentication. So basically you go on, and then you'll log to my service. We can put up a paywall, free model, and then people can install the plugin, go to the OAuth, get pay for it, and then come back to the plugin. So that's like one way we're thinking about this. Again, there's like a million different ways you can monetize, and I'm actively working on that. And hopefully get a better answer soon. Thank you. Cool.
Okay. Right. What's up, everyone? I'm Malik Bantion, and I built Rotation, which basically transforms any picture or text, or picture or text into a customized Spotify playlist that captures that exact mood. So something about me is that I spend most of my time in the day listening to music. I always have AirPod in. I think I ranked like 98% of like all Spotify users. I spent like 85,000 hours on Spotify last year, which is I think a lot of my time. But the issue is, while I'm listening to music, I either do one of two things. The first is I will just cycle through my liked songs, the past like 20 most recent songs. I'll just like click through them, and sometimes they're in a shuffled playlist, and other times I'm just like going forward. But then the other half of my listening is I'm looking for a very specific mood. So whether it's the jolting adrenaline of a morning run, I'm like getting up, getting ready to go, or it's tucking myself in at night and like trying to wind down, it's hard to find someone unless they're telepathic who has had that exact same mood. So someone who has typed it in the exact same way, someone who is thinking about the mood in the same sequential order, right? Someone who semantically means the same thing will probably not type it in the same way that you want to. Plus, images are so much more of a barrier. Image target ops at a party. I have no idea what to play. What if I could take a picture of that party and then know exactly what to play? So I built Rotation to solve this exact purpose. And I wanted to bring up something that is relevant to all of us today. So Vision Pro, this cool picture of a woman wearing glasses. So what if we just sniped a screenshot of this and then fed it into Rotation? I would be curious to see how that does. And how Rotation works is you have to log in via Spotify. So you would just connect your Spotify and then upload your picture. So I think this is it. Oh no, this is the later one. Okay, awesome. And then the songs that you see right here are your most recently liked songs. So I think these are my most recently 30 liked songs. What's cool is that they're visualized in 3D space based off of a model that I was looking at, trained not on waveform and not on lyrics, but actually just on 8 audio features. So things like danceability, liveness, energy, things like that. I guess one song really sticks out from the rest, but
Yeah, this is like pretty much the 3D visualization if you're interested in that. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for this to load, I went in and looked at what this would print with the model. And basically how rotation works is I use clip embeddings and then sort of image caption to see what it would say. So with Vision Pro, it's saying a woman with a pair of goggles on her head, a computer rendering, pan-futurism in the style of Tyler Mitchell, no text, no logo, Sony produced with blackness instead of eyes, all white render, trending on, okay, yeah, you can read the rest, right? There's like a lot going on there. It gives a futuristic vibe, it gives somewhat like voyagery, travel-y, you know, maybe utopian, maybe dystopian, we'll see. So if we go back here and check in, so now instead of the recently liked songs, you have your songs that were generated, and we can actually go down and see it named the playlist Mysterious. I think this should open. Okay, let's just open it in Spotify. And it has a few songs that are interesting, right? Voyager, Black Screen, Oblivion, Midnight City. I wonder if we can play Voyager just to get a taste. Oh, I think Apple was going for that. 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 Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine now. And yeah, so that's kind of where it leaves me. We've had, I think, 500 or so monthly unique visitors. I've done that through just like rotating sort of people in and out through the waitlist because I'm still unfortunately blocked by Spotify's quota extension, which I hope to get lifted soon. And if you want to sign up for the waitlist and have a chance, I know a lot of you are still on it. It's bit.ly rotation-AI. So yeah, go pull up.
So, how would you envision this be like separately from Spotify? It would be some sort of web app. I would load a picture without in the same interface.
Yeah, it would be a separate web app that is particularly for like a playlist curator. So I know that my sister spends hours every month generating a January 2023 playlist, right? And then she'll say like, oh, like, you know, writing that essay frantically at 3 a.m. or like hopping off the plane at LAX, like something like that, right? These are like my example. But she spends so long in it, and I think just to reduce that time is something that she's found useful and that a bunch of people on Twitter and in the world have found useful. Yeah. All right, all set.
Sweet. I'm next.
Yeah.
All right. All right, sweet. Cool. So actually I haven't shared this with that many people before. So this is kind of the first time I'm trying it out in front of a group of people. Who here has tried Stable Diffusion or Midjourney? I'm sure most of you, right? I hope. So it's a lot of fun. Like the first time you use these tools, it's super cool. You can create really interesting things. You just think of something and it shows up. But there's kind of this fundamental flaw, right? There's actually probably a couple, right? One, Stable Diffusion is really hard to use. If you kind of go into the weeds and see how artists are trying to incorporate this in their kind of production, they use this really, really jank user interface called Automatic. It's terrible, but that's just what everyone uses because it's composable and has extensions. And for the Midjourney side, you basically just have Discord, right? And it's not that fun. Like if you want to iterate and do things kind of and have state, right? It's not like Photoshop where you have a Photoshop file. So what I wanted to build was kind of tools that enable creators to work with kind of the cutting edge of Stable Diffusion. But at the same time, if you're a researcher who wants to build kind of the next Midjourney, this is something that you can use to collect like human feedback and build better models. So this is kind of the web app. Everything just runs locally right now. And what we can do is we have a couple of operations that are already here. Let's go ahead and dream, right? And we get a couple of parameters. I'm happy to take a prompt if anyone has one. It's something interesting. Okay, if not, let's see, a red sports car in the style of Roy Lichtenstein, right? And we can go ahead and run that job. So that's going to go ahead and actually on my device itself, it's running this diffusion. The really interesting piece here is it's not just these separate operations. It's the idea that everything is completely programmable and configurable. So it's completely open source. And this is the default kind of dream operation to diffuse, right? But you can actually go in and write your own operations just as Python functions. So there's this extensions file you can go into. And let's say I wanted to use, for example, OpenAI's DALL-E instead. All I have to write is a function that kind of respects the spec that we kind of provide you as OpenDream. And this takes like a prompt, takes your API key and just calls the API and overloads kind of the dream operation. And you can also write your own operation. So this is what I was messing around with. I'm sure everyone's seen Adobe Firefly's generative fill. So you can implement that as well fairly easily. So as long as you can write these functions, you get kind of all the extensibility that you want. So let's say I have this layer now. I actually want to create a mask because I don't want a red car. So I can go ahead and just mask everything out. Let's move this, submit. We have a mask there. And we can go ahead and in-paint, right? So you can do exactly all the things that you would expect to do. And you kind of have this layering capability that you don't get in anything else. You can export to a file that you can share with friends. They can load up the state of your kind of workplace. And there's like a bunch of other features as well, right? There's like pix to pix, segment anything, right? Like if you want to write an operation that helps you take all the oranges in a picture and turn it into an apple, you can do that super, super easily just by writing a really, really simple Python script. And this is probably going to take quite a while to run because again, everything's running on my device, but because it's completely composable, you could set up any kind of web endpoint and like overload the dream function or any other function using whichever whichever like cloud provider you want, whether it's like Modal or AWS or whatever. Cool. Thank you.
So under the hood, if you basically go and re-implement each of the functions that automatic 1111 had, basically.
Yeah. So there's like a couple of pieces here, right? So automatic pretty much supports everything. So if you go and try and use automatic, for example, if you want to use, cool. If you want to use like ControlNet or something, you have to go and download the extension. It's kind of painful. And all of a sudden there's like 500 buttons being shown to you at once. It's like almost like you're an astronaut or something trying to figure out what all these things do. But trying to turn that into kind of a subset of what actually like a real user cares about and simplify, right? Like if you want a really complex user interface, you can go ahead and do that. You can create your own functions, right? It just takes the type hints from your like define op and creates whatever you want. I think there's still a lot of work to be done here, especially as layering matters more and more in diffusion, right? If I want to get like a PNG of a bed and a painting, and I want to diffuse those two PNGs or clip arts together in something that's cohesive, that's something that's like in the works as well. It can be very possible with this, but not with the current interfaces in Midjourney or Stable Diffusion Automatic. Cool. Yeah, exactly. So ultimately what kind of a research team, if they wanted, could do is creating like a function for their own diffusion model that they're working on and make it so every time you diffuse, you get 4 options or 5 options. And you can customize exactly the kind of feedback that you want. Which of these 4, which ones you want to upscale, like everything that you see in Midjourney or DALL-E, you can build it in like a couple of Python functions here. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Hey everyone. My name is Cannon. I'm a freshman, about to finish my first year here at Stanford. It's been awesome. And I like to design things.
I'm Jake. I'm also a freshman and I am a coder.
So we challenged ourselves over the last 6 weeks to build a fully functional social media app, because why not? The problem we are trying to address is finding students with similar interests at Stanford, and anonymous solutions were just not cutting it. So of course we decided to make an app, and essentially what we created was an app that allows anyone to create their own private Twitter community within Stanford. And over to dinner today, we clamored to ship our completed build to test flight, and Jake is going to show you some of our demo.
All right, let's get logged in. So this is right now restricted to Stanford students with Sunet IDs, and normally there'd be a verification code here to ensure that, but I will spare you the wait. Perfect. Here we go. So here's our home screen. You can see we've got if we wait for the posts to load. Eventually we will have a feed of loaded posts. Something wrong with the internet.
Yeah. The internet works until we get up here.
Yep.
It's like it.
This was very fast when we were sitting in those chairs.
I'm gonna share you.
What on earth?
Well, I can talk a little more about it.
Go ahead.
So basically, you have an all feed, which is going to be all the communities you're a part of are going to appear there. You can sort by new, hot, and top of all time today, the usual. But then you can jump into specific communities, like if you're a designer, you can join the designers community, or if you're an entrepreneur, like all of us, I said, you can jump in that community and see what people are saying. And everyone's tagged their Sunday ID with your Stanford email, so no bots, everyone on campus can get to know better. And you have all the nice features tags. You can have custom tags for each server. You can have polls. You can save stuff. There's alerts, live alert chips. Yeah, it looks like we've got some posts finally.
All right, sorry for the technical difficulties. I have no clue what's going on there, but it's working now, so we're happy. So this is the home screen. We can scroll through our feed of posts. We've got different tags, top, hot, new. We could maybe expand a post, add a comment. All the features you'd expect, bookmark or unbookmark posts. All these little profile links are clickable. So that's the home screen. We can also switch between different servers. So we can have the all feed, which shows posts aggregated from all of them, or we could switch into entrepreneurs, for instance. And that'll restrict the feed to specifically that server. And if we wanted to switch back, we could also join a server, which anyone could invite us to with an invite code, or scan a QR code if we were not in the simulator. Or create a server eventually. That feature is still sort of in beta. Of course, all servers have leaderboards, an ability to invite with either a QR code or a copyable link, and to leave if you choose to do so. What else do we have? All right. There. And yep. In the profile tab, we could have all our posts. Or posts that we've saved from other users. We could edit our profile, claim a good username because they're unique. Miscellaneous settings there. And browse different alerts that we get. We have the ability to search all servers, maybe. Or perhaps to filter to a specific server and search within that. And we can also create new posts. and that should be posted within the entrepreneur server. And again, so these different servers, to start out, everyone's added to a few popular servers. So entrepreneurs, design, hackers, and humanities. Eventually, you'll have the ability to create your own private servers and invite people with either a code or a QR.
So yeah, looking forward, we're looking to add DMs. We think server chats could be fun to just be able to join a community, then start talking with all your peers that are interested in the same topic. And now that we have the bare bones social media set up, we're probably just going to try experimenting features and having fun with it, and hopefully connecting with some of you guys. And we have nylon.app running right now if you want to check out more or reach out to us. Thank you. Go. Oh, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, we built a Chrome extension that basically just pops up when you're about to spend money. Inspired by the fact that like we overspend money like many college students do on like food, clothes, whatever. And also we wanted to be like Brian Chang on Twitter. So we made this demo video a while ago and posted it. You might have already seen it on Twitter, but this is how it works. So basically just like when you add something to a cart, it like checks the URL for like certain words. And then it pops up and just connects to the OpenAI API like to generate a roast that basically tells you not to complete the purchase. Yeah, and then this is here with the AirPods Max. Yeah, so basically that's it. But yeah, kind of funny. We added a meme in there for everyone to yeah, so yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
So how will you monetize this?
Oh, you know, as we said, our main goal was being like Brian on Twitter. Yeah, it's not gonna be monetized. It's just like it was a fun like project to yeah, I don't know, make, and yeah. But yeah.
This is you, by the way.
Hey guys, my name is Andrew and this is Drewster, which makes you turn into a rock star. So I'm sure all you guys seen on Twitter or on TikTok, basically people that ghostwrite songs and then they turn it into Drake. I'm sure like ghostwriters, you have like 3 million views on TikTok that make it. Basically what I built was something that enables you to do that with 69 different artists. Yeah. Nice. Oh, shout out Molly for the background. So sick, by the way. Yeah, so this is it. So does anybody have any suggestions on which artist we should do? Okay, Drake it is, guys. So yeah, we also have an instrumental that is downloaded. This is the beat. So that's the beat. That's the beat. That might be bad. It's so hard, what? Yeah. Oh. All right, that was all right, yeah, okay. So yeah, we'll. Yeah, dude, like. Kind of just like connected everything, servers on EC2. So yeah, just everything's free right now. So yeah, just rocket it, I guess. Yeah.
Are you using servers or something?
Yeah. Okay, it finished. Let's see how it turned out.
Yeah. My
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Daniel, I'm a sophomore here, and I was looking to work on a new project this quarter, and I had a couple main criteria just to give you guys context. So one is trying to play around with distribution. I really want to tap into organic distribution and a B2B app. I feel like often like consumer stuff gets really good organic distribution, almost by necessity, because customer LTV is so low. But as like a college student, you really have time for a lot of outbound, so I was trying to make it tap into that. I also like last quarter was working on a bunch of LLM apps and was thinking like, hey, like I think we can all agree it's a real inflection. So I want to, instead of just trying to build LLM app, go after like users who are like really scared right now about this like LLM wave, and see if I can help them. I think there are a lot of robust businesses to be built around this like people being disrupted, like second order, third order effect of this. And lastly, I really want to build like a snippet play. I think code snippets is super cool. Because if you get them on someone's site, you get all this proprietary data, and it's a great beachhead because you can do whatever you want with their site. Usually, like, they don't really appreciate this when you're onboarding them, but like a lot of legs there too. So specifically, I ended up working on publishing tools. I write a blog myself, and I noticed I have like really shit engagement, like pretty bad. And it turns out that like I'm not alone in this. 90% of site visitors like turn a page, you don't actually finish an article. And I was in class one day, just like looking over people's shoulders as someone does, seeing what they're doing on their laptops. And I was watching people like read the news, and they just like click on an article, like read a sentence, scroll down a bit, read a sentence, and then churn. So with that in mind, I was trying to think, how can I help readers like better skim articles on publisher sites? So I can show you what it looks like. It's on your favorite newspaper, the Review right now. Doing a little A/B split test. It's on some of the articles. So let's say I'm reading, and then I start skimming. So I'm like scrolling super fast. Oh, it's only on half the time, so I might have to like reload and see if I get it activated. And so you can see it says skim mode activated, and it highlights in green like key sentences, and we can like hide the highlights. We can also like share them or save them, and so hopefully like increase the net promoter score for readers on the site. Yeah, that's the concept. I've been running it on the review site for a couple of weeks now, seeing an increase in engagement, but like not enough data to be like super confident about this. So I'm trying to go a little upmarket, talking about that notice right now. But if any of y'all like have like blogs with a lot of traffic, please hit me up. I'd love to try this out with y'all. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't think I understand what exactly is going. So you have the skim mode where it's highlighting certain stuff. How does this translate into more outbound?
Yes, the goal here is, given that 90% of the people that come to this page won't actually finish the article, can I get more people to finish it by highlighting key sentences? If people are skimming the article, might as well help them with this behavior rather than lose them in churn. Does that clarify? Or okay. Thank you.
And, okay. Hi, everyone. Let's put this up on full screen. Okay, I'm Tom, and I'm building subtitles for the real world. Well, first off, how many of you have heard of the Apple AR glass that came out today? Nice. How many of you are going to buy one? Oh, wow, rich people. So we're doing the total opposite of that. We built a device that's optimized for just critical information, like text and lo-fi graphics for the deaf hard of hearing. It's very lightweight and lasts all day and gives you captions for the real world to help people like me hear the conversation. So as your hearing loss deteriorates, sounds begin to feel quieter and blurrier. Now, hearing aids, by far the most common solution for the deaf hard of hearing are amplifiers. They will make sounds louder, but they don't fix the entire problem. What you need is clarity. So people with a hearing loss, that's what their audio experience is like. It's louder with a hearing aid, but it's still unclear. So what we're doing is a tool that clarifies conversation. That's what we need. And that's where TriGlass comes in. It bypasses the broken hearing system and gives you access to crystal clear understanding of conversation via captions. So here's our demo. A lot of you have actually gotten to try it if you've seen me at events, but okay. I have some audio here. Yeah. So our hardware is very cost effective. We provide the caption subscription, and then you get the hardware.
No, I mean, like, is it like a custom thing?
Oh, yeah, we build the hardware. Yeah, it's our hardware. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
How much does it cost to build?
Let's see, at scale, less than 20. Yeah.
How well does it perform in environments with lots of ambient noise?
Yeah.
If there are multiple people talking, you have to eliminate one specific person.
Yeah, right now we're working on a directional mic to isolate the speaker of interest. Yeah. So, yeah, but you know, it's basically, it depends on the speech recognition system, their ability to perform in those settings. Yeah.
Are you seeing success with that?
Yeah, it depends on the setting, but you know, there's tremendous numbers of people who are using heads down, the caption caps. Yeah. It's essentially the same APIs as Google Meets, for example. But yeah, they're challenging noise situations. They are difficult, but you know, if we have directional mics and we're isolating speaker of interest, they perform better. Yeah. Any other questions? Cool. Okay, and I wanted to put up my contact info if you guys want to take part in the trial or use the product. Yeah, that's me. Cool.
Our demos, thank you so much for coming. Feel free, and if you can, try to take out your trash with you, since they have a very
Please take
small.
out the trash.
Or do take out your trash with you.
And if you demo, just come stick around.
Yeah.
The next 5 minutes. Great seeing everyone.